All right. Good morning, everyone. Let me adjust my camera here and we will get the webinar started. Today, we're going to be talking about how to set yourself apart from your competition. And we're going to talk about the different ways that we're going to be able to do that. Let's wait for a few folks to join us and then we will get this show started. All right. If you would let me know where you are from in the chat, what part of the country you're from. Also, let me know what type of business you have. We work with various industries, whether you're in HVAC, plumbing, electrical, commercial food equipment repairs, appliance repairs, garage doors, doors, windows, roofing, fencing, the whole nine, locksmith, you name it. So we want to share some best practices that we've come into understanding on how to set yourself apart from the competition. And we're going to talk about that today in our webinar series this Thursday. So hopefully you guys are going to enjoy what we have to offer. Let's wait for a few more folks to join us and we will get this show on the road. All right. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Let's not waste any more of our time. And one, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Dorrel Willis. I work here at the Sawin Service Automation office here in Houston, Texas. We are located in Cypress if you are native to the Houston area. But we work with contractors across the nation as well as up in Canada. So if you are a US-based business or a Canada-based business, thank you guys for joining us. And if you're watching the replay of this, thank you so much for spending some time, not only finding us, but also taking the time to watch this video, watching this replay. Now, one of the first things that I'm going to mention, and we're not going to go over slides this time. I think this is nice to just have a conversation. And if you have any questions whatsoever, there's a Q&A option for you at the top of this webinar with Teams. Feel free to use that option. If not, you can use the chat option. And I have somebody manning the chat, if not myself, to be able to answer those questions for you. Now, as I stated, today we're talking about how to set yourself apart from the competition. And we know that competition is growing. We also know that sometimes competition phases out because they've either sold the business, they have either closed the business, or most importantly, they've put something in place that's affected their overall growth of the business and they have to slow down. So we want to make sure that we're doing things that help us continue to grow, scale, increase our business, increase our recognition across the marketplace, and ensure that we're doing everything right to satisfy and service our customers for the long term. Now, one of the first things we're going to talk about is helping your customers understand why you are the unique business that you are. You have a story to tell, right? You have started your business for one reason. I'm reminded of a story of a recent customer that we brought on board that started their company back in 2017, and it was really just a side hustle. It was something to do to make ends meet, to help them bring additional cash and additional cash flow to their home and to take care of their family. But we're now looking at 2024. They are a full-fledged business. They're doing and growing business. They're hiring on more people. And so remind yourself and remind your team as well as your customers why you are the unique business that you are. Where did you guys start? Why did you start? And what was that journey like? And helping them understand how it sets you apart from the competition, whether they are a large company that you're competing with or a company similar to yours, and why you provide not only superior quality of work, but you also give them exceptional customer service, and you're very well trained and professional when it comes to the work that they're requesting of you. And if you don't remind them of that, and it's just about price and it's just about your availability, then oftentimes you can find that there is a company that connects with that customer that's going to ultimately keep them on board and keep them by creating that quote and converting that quote over into a job to ensure that they can keep them on as a customer or generate them as a customer. So let's make sure that we are finding a way to make sure that we are talking about why we are the unique business that we are to help us continue to grow and bring on more customers. It is super important to understand why you're unique, but also to clearly define that for your customers, whether it's using your website, whether it's using your social media, whether it's using the sales team that you have, or the CSRs that you have, or the reception that you have, or even the whole music, right? Using all of that to help customers understand who you are, so that they can build a connection with you and a relationship with you, is ultimately going to help you continue to grow and set yourself apart from the competition. Number two on our list is knowing who your audience is. Now, if you are in the HVAC space and you know that your customer is going to be anything in relation to HVAC and refrigeration. If you're in the plumbing space, you know that your customers are going to be primarily focused on the plumbing and the anything related to plumbing or drainage, right? And so understanding and knowing who your target audience is going to ultimately help you drive more customers to your business, because your marketing efforts, right? The way in which you speak to people, the way in which you network, you understand that how I'm conducting myself as the professional for this business and as a growing business. I have to understand that these are my audiences, and this is where my audience lives. And if I can find different ways to be able to communicate with my audience and have a conversation with them on a regular basis, we can find that our customers will also do some of the work for us. Whether they are a sales rep or whether they are, once again, a CSR or a receptionist, we want to make sure that as they are communicating with the clients, as they're getting calls in, we want to ensure that that customer is looking for the type of business that you are, with a more tailored and personalized approach, right? And so if I know that a customer is coming to a mechanical shop, right, where I do HVAC, plumbing, and electrical work, amongst a few other things that we may do, then what I want to make sure that I'm doing is I'm specifying with that customer or with that prospect or potential customer that this is what we do and this is the services that we provide. Help me understand your needs so that I can cater it to what you're looking for. Not just, hey, here's all my services. Here's all my services, take it or leave it, right? Oftentimes we throw so much at our customers or our potential customers, and we find that we are in a way hurting or affecting our customers by pushing them away because we're giving them too much information about things that they don't need. So what we need to do is we need to calm it down, be a little bit more of a tailored approach, a focused approach, and make sure that all of our messaging around the products and the services that we offer are specific to their needs. You may find that it's going to be on an individual basis, but if you notice that you're generating the same amount of customers and the from a specific source, you can really tailor that to that source and to those customers where you can rinse and repeat. But in most cases, from small to medium size or mid-market business, you want to ensure that you're tailoring this to your customers' needs. Okay. So let's make sure that we know who our target audience is, who our customers are, and what are their needs. Okay. Number three on our list is offering the best in-class service. Okay. Offering the best service, whether it's exceptional service, whether it's premier service, whether it's the world-class service, we want to make sure that we're going to the lengths to provide them with the best service. Now, we know that there are various tradesmen that are out there, but what we find is the challenge really comes when we are just doing what everyone else is doing. And if we're providing the same service that everyone else is doing, we can't really set ourselves apart. So we have to find a way, whether it's communicating with our clients in a timely manner, whether it is ensuring that the customers feel heard and they have all their questions answered, whether it is ensuring that once we have answered their questions, that we're following up to ensure that they got everything that they needed. Providing exceptional service and world-class service comes from the quality of work that you provide and the quality that you push over to your team and the expectation that you have for your team. If you are not pushing your customers, if you're not pushing your team to provide this type of service and the level of service and the quality of service, what you find is that customers will call you and say, "Oh, no, that's not really it. I'm going to go find someone else." And the more they do that, the more you're going to miss out on opportunities. You're going to miss out on potential customers. And so what you have to do is, let's say the first thing you do is, "Hi, and welcome to my company. Thank you so much for giving us some of your time. How can I help you today?" right? Giving them the thanks up front, right? Not necessarily the thank you after they've done business with you, but ultimately giving you a chance to win their business, to earn their business. Ultimately, it's going to help you grow your business and continue to support your business, but it shows that you're willing to go the extra mile, right? You're surprising your customers with things that they didn't anticipate they were going to get, because they didn't get that at the last company that they worked with. They didn't provide that at the last few companies that they reached out to. And so, a way that to set yourself apart is ensuring that you have exceptional service, quality of service, and you set that clear expectation for your team, across the board, so that everyone is speaking the same language and providing the world-class service. Okay, let's make sure we're doing that to set ourselves apart from our competition. The fourth thing that on our list here is building a strong brand. Now, a lot of people, especially in the trades, build that believe that building a strong brand is just getting your truck wrapped and allowing so many people to view that truck everywhere you drive and just dial the number, and ultimately they're going to choose your service. That works, and that's worked for a very long time. But where we see people doing a lot of their research these days, because they have access to the internet, they have access to Google reviews, they have access to Facebook and Instagram and Yelp and all these other sites where they can do more research. They're not just looking for the van; they're looking for, all right, hey, I understand who these service companies are close to me, right? As we do a Google search, service companies near me, HVAC near me, plumbing near me, electrical near me. Um, they're going to go through each one, and they're going to see, based off of the stars, is this worth my time? Is it worth me reaching out? Is it worth me doing this is it worth me taking that extra step, and which is costing me time and costing me energy to reach out to that company, right? And if you have very little reviews, sometimes that can affect you because you haven't built that brand recognition. And if you have very low grade views, right, reviews, right, where it's a 2 star and a 3 star, that's ultimately going to help you. So the ways in which we build a strong brand is we create a memorable brand identity, right? So whether the owner is sharing their story, whether the team is sharing the excitement on the work that they have completed, whether you're showing the projects that you all have completed, or you've talked about the longevity of the relationships that you've built with some of your longtime customers, all of that's going to help you continue to grow your brand. But you also want to make sure that you show and share your logo, your tagline if you have one. You also want to make sure that the voice that you're putting out there online is consistent, right? And so if you're really building your social media and you're building up your brand, you want to make sure that as they hear a promotion or they hear, a message from this company, that it is recognizable and it's something that is consistent and repetitive. I'm reminded of some of the commercials around Stanley Steamer, right? We know what that jingle is, right? If you have a great jingle that they can remember, it's you've built a really good brand when not only do the adults know the jingle, but the kids know the jingle because they've heard it on the radio, they've heard it on social media, they heard it on the internet somewhere. So all of these things are going to help you continue to build a strong brand, but you want to make sure that you are building the brand across multiple platforms. Gone are the days of the yellow pages. I had a yellow page in here not so long ago, but gone are the days of the yellow pages. And now what you find is that people are looking at different channels and seeing if it's consistent across the board. Can I say that this brand is reflective, not just on Yelp, but is it the same on Google? Is it the same on Facebook business, right? And if you find that it is not the same, and there's high reviews on Yelp, but Google has very low reviews, they're going to find that that is not a company that they want to work with, because there's not consistency across the multiple platforms. Because there's going to be interaction, right? They're going to call you from Yelp, they're going to call you from Google, they're going to call you from Facebook business, but ultimately the action that they take is coming from their ability to see that there's consistency across these platforms, right? And the more we build upon that, the more we can set ourselves apart from our competition and ultimately continue to grow our brand, grow our recognition, and grow our customer base and repetitive customers. Because it's not just about the new customers, right? We want to keep customers for life. We want to keep them around for a long time. And if we can build a repetitive customer or a repeating customer, That's ultimately going to help us continue to grow our brand and grow it to a higher level. Okay. All right. Number five on our list, and this is where we're going to wrap it up today. I'm going to take some questions if we have any from our audience today. But if you guys have any questions post this call, feel free to reach out to us here at sales@sawinpro.com. I'll make sure we also include our phone number and emails in the description of the replay, as well as in the chat here in just a second. So let's go to number five, and let's go ahead and go over to some of the questions that we're going to get from our audience here. So number five is, how are we adapting to the change within the market, and how are we innovating in response to adapting to the markets? I'll give you an example. So here recently we had Hurricane Beryl in Houston, and we know that there was a ton of damage, of people without electricity, people without food, people whose appliances went out because of the storm. I mean, the whole nine. I'm dealing with AC issues at the moment. And so we know that as we have to adapt to what's happening, we have to ensure that we're meeting customers where they are, and we're meeting our potential customers where they are. And so we have to keep our eyes set on some of the things that are happening now and happening in our current events, as well as being able to stay ahead of some of those current events and those trends. So one of the things that we've seen is a lot of electrical contractors have had to uproot themselves from other parts of the country and come down here and help Houston to continue to support the demand for getting more power to those that have been without power, right? So we know that that has generated more business for our electrical contractors here. It's generated more business for our HVAC contractors. It's generated more business for our plumbing contractors. It's generated more business for ultimately service-based businesses, primarily that of the trees and arborists, because there were a lot of trees that were down that created damage to the power lines, and they needed to come out and make sure that they could service the area so that we can get the power restored in some of these communities. So it's important that we learn to adapt to what's happening and get ahead of those trends, but also find ways in which we can innovate. And one of those ways in which you can innovate is to make sure that you're doing a review of the tools that you have. You're doing a review of the systems that you have. You're doing a review of the promotions and personnel, as well as the software and the programs that you all are using to ensure that you can cover the demand that comes with some of these trends and adapt to that as well. We found that there are a number of new businesses that have been generated, a number of new businesses that have been created post storms, because they realize that there are a lot of customers that need help, and no one can sit there and risk the time that it takes. You can imagine the elderly that are affected by these storms and how they can't sit there and they can't wait to get their systems back online. Whether it's their breathing machines, or whether it's to make sure that they can check their blood pressure, or they can check their and make sure that they are reminded of their medications. All of this is super important. And if we sit back and we wait, we're not really finding ways to help the larger group and to set ourselves apart from the competition. Our competition are going to let customers know, you know what, we're booked up, we can't service you. I'm sorry, you're going to have to wait for 2 weeks. Well, ultimately, once again, most people cannot wait, and it's going to be a matter of life and death at times if we don't get people to trust in themselves and to act on that need to start a business, whether it's on the smaller end and it's just a side hustle while they're working through the day for their regular business. They can come at the end of the day of their work day, and they can work for a few hours to help some of these customers out, these potential customers out. They can start their day earlier to go and help some of these customers, and ultimately they can generate a book of business that allows them to support themselves, their families, and ultimately start to hire on more businesses, very similar to the story that I told at the beginning of our call. So keep that in mind as you all are looking to adapt to what's happening in the marketplace, what's happening in the world, and being able to jump out on faith and jump out on what you believe in, and knowing that you have every skill within you to do it. You have to just put yourself in a position to be able to do it and go and take action. Okay. So last thing I'll mention is you have to also embrace technology. As you look at your competition is they're reviewing their technologies on a yearly basis. They're ensuring they have the right tools in place, that they can continue to support their customers, and most importantly, they are ensuring that they have the right tools in place that they can continue to support their customers, and most importantly, they are ensuring that they have the right tools in place that they can continue to support their customers, and most importantly, they are ensuring that they have the right tools in place that they can continue to support their customers, and when they support those customers at a higher level, at a higher quality. And here at SA Win Service Automation, we do that on a day-to-day basis for our customers, as well as helping all the contractors that we work with service their customers at a higher level as well. And I wouldn't be here doing these webinars if it wasn't for our customers sharing their stories and sharing what they're doing on a day-to-day basis, because ultimately we want to help you. We want to find ways to be able to build a relationship with you, build a partnership with you, and help you grow your business, help you support the lives of the families that trust in you to do the same. Okay, so that's going to be the end of our top five, and I hope that what you heard here today is going to help you put something into practice, whether it be with your team today, this week, this month, or sometime at any point this year and in the coming future. Now, we want to go ahead and go over to questions. Let's see if we have any questions from our guest today. Let me double check. All right, we don't have any in the Q&A session. Let's look at the chat real quick. All right, so I have a question here from unanimous. They don't want to mention their name. They said, I am a new business and I'm looking to set myself apart from the competition. How do I do that? So that's a really great question, because we often find that new businesses are faced with a number of challenges. Do I have enough customers to support me? Do I have the right tools in place? Can I service them at scale? And in most cases, you have to start slow. The first thing you want to do is you want to understand, as your business, you have a business plan, right? Now we are not consultants to help you work on business plans. We do have partnerships and companies that I'm sure would love to talk to you about how they started their business, and we'd love to get you all connected. But you want to make sure that you have a business plan, so that you have a structured plan on how you're going to work your business, how you're going to build your business, and how you're going to stay in business ultimately. Okay. So once you have that business plan, you then want to take a step back and say, okay, hey, from a start to finish, based off of a workflow, how do I get my customers into this workflow? And how do I make sure that once I complete this workflow, that they're satisfied with the work in which I have? And so the start of that workflow is, hey, how are they going to reach out to me? How are they going to communicate with me in my business? Do I have the right number set up? Do I have an email set up? Do I have a website that needs to be set up? Do I have a Facebook page? Do I have a Yelp? Do I have a Google page that I need to set up? Right? So it starts with that form of communication, right? Because if they can't communicate with you, they can't find you, one, nor can they get to a level of choosing your service, because you're not available to them. They don't know who you are. They don't know where you exist, right? But once you get them into the workflow and they found you, you want to make sure that you have a way in which you can track that, right? Whether you're tracking that in QuickBooks, whether you're tracking that in SA Win, whether you're tracking that in another CRM system, you want to make sure that you have a system where you can track that history of when they interacted with you and how you're going to service them all the way up into completion, meaning you've completed the work, you've invoiced them, and you want to ensure that you are getting a review from them, because that's going to be important, especially as a young business, to leverage that review to get more business or to get referrals, right? And so as you have built a way to communicate with your customers, you've built a system in which you can track that customer or track that potential customer within your workflow. You also want to make sure that you have a system that can send someone out to that location, whether it be yourself or anyone else that you may potentially have hired. And keep in mind, in the service-based industry, it's not always the person who owns the business that's doing the work. There's sometimes you're using subcontractors. They're using family or friends that are going out and doing that work. And so it doesn't necessarily have to be you, but you still want to be able to track that you went out to that location, so you can track your drive time, you can track your labor time, and you can track any other miscellaneous charges that come with doing the work for that customer. The other thing that you want to talk about, or at least have in place, is ensuring that you have the right materials. So a lot of our contractors, we have found, they're not keeping a lot of inventory on hand, especially as a small business. You're having to go to parts warehouses and picking up parts prior to going and doing the work. So you want to find a way to close the gap between your estimate and your work order, to ensure that you have everything that you're going to need built out on that estimate. You go and pick that up In the middle, right, that's going to be your parts order, or go and pick up parts. And then you have your work order, which means that, hey, I have all the parts in which I need. I now can fulfill the work, and now I can charge them for the labor of installing this item, repairing this item, fixing this item, the whole nine, or just providing the service. And once you have provided that service, you now have the ability to then invoice that customer. Now, there's a number of ways in which you can invoice, whether you're using a tool like Sawin or any other tool. You can go and invoice that customer right there from the field, so that you're not having to worry about missing out on being paid for the work in which you had. You've already spent money on the materials and the supplies you needed to service that customer. You don't want to be held to a net 30, a net 60 all the time to get your customer to pay you. So whether you need cash on delivery, you need to ensure you have a tool to process payments out there in the field. So whether you're processing payments here at SAWin, we have what we call SAWin Pay. You can process a credit card transaction right then and there from any form, a major credit card with your customer. And as you run that transaction, you can send a receipt over to that customer right then and there. And you can ensure that that's all tracked through SAWin, through QuickBooks, or whatever accounting platform you're using, as it's notated as a journal entry into those systems. So those are the things in which I would recommend, especially as a small business. But the main thing to really set yourself apart from the competition is ensuring that you are setting yourself up to have the best quality of work that you can provide. Hey, as you come into the location, make sure you're knocking on the door and you're introducing yourself, and you're sharing your appreciation for them choosing your service. You also want to ensure that once you get completed with the work, that you let them know that what you've completed and what you've done, and laid it out for them how you did that and how you did a diagnosis, as well as what the completion of work looked like and what you're charging them for. So there's no way that you can blindside them with the charges, because you've already explained to them everything that you did. And most importantly, once you get that invoice and you get payment, send them over a personalized thank you note, and ensuring that there is a way for them to not only leave you a review, but also to continue to be a repeat customer. Hey, I'd love to come out here and check your unit, or I'd love to come out here and just take a look around the house to see if there's anything else that we can fix to make sure that you all live comfortably in your home, or you can work comfortably in your business. Please let me know. Here's my business card, or here's some information that I want to share with you. And next service is 10% off, or whatever promotion you want to throw at them. And that will help you ultimately keep that customer as a repeat customer, but also they become a champion for your business because you provided them with quality work. You're giving them a discount, and you're providing them with a lane to help you grow your business, to share their experience with you. Because ultimately, other customers want to do business with companies that service people like them, right? So whether they share with their family or their friends or their community, ultimately they're going to help you grow your business, whether you're a small business, a medium to mid-sized business, or whether you're a larger business. These are the things in which I would recommend to you to grow your business and to set yourself apart from the competition. Thank you guys so much for joining us here at SAWin Service Automation in our webinar series. I hope that there was a lot of key takeaways that you all took from today, and that you put something into practice as soon as you can, because your business depends on it. See you guys in the next webinar.